Then about 2019, an incident happened. I got a back problem. So it was I was seated, my back started paining like daily. So I'll go play basketball. In the evening, my back was so painful. I could not move any inch of my body. Like the pain was so paralyzing. So I was just like lying straight in the bed. They did all, the drips and all that to try and bring down the pain. But like after 3-4 hours, the pain surges back, like a pain. Subconscious is where your beliefs are stored, okay? These beliefs are used to map out and to make sense of the world. So when a child from 1 to 7, for example, goes through anything, he picks that thought, he picks what he hears, he picks what he sees, and he internalizes it as a belief, and that is how he'll continue seeing the world for the rest of his life as a filter. There was a need inside myself. There was that young Zubeir inside of me that still craved for attention, which he didn't get when he was young. If an emotion can't find itself in tears, it will make other organs weep.
Welcome back to the Shujaa Fitcast. My name is Kanyeki Kamawe. I'm the founder of Shujaa Fitness, a fitness brand that we are building and creating content through to hopefully help you live a happier, healthier life, improve on your well-being, your fitness, your health, even your mental health. So far, we have also been having conversations surrounding mental health and just how fitness can impact something like your mental health, which is a conversation that maybe doesn't get discussed enough when we're talking about fitness. All the intangible aspects of fitness that we can easily ignore when we're focusing just on our physical bodies. And the guest that we have today will hopefully give us a bit more perspective about just how you can live a holistic life in a variety of ways. So we'll get into knowing him, his story, what he does, and how it connects to this idea of living a healthy lifestyle overall. So karibu sana, Mr. Zubeir Amani.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Introduce us to yourself, give us some background about who you are and what it is you do.
So my name is Zubeir Amani. I'm a transformational coach and a speaker. What I do is I like to bridge the gap between where someone's life is and where he or she wants it to be. So I believe in every separation we have in someone's life, there's a bit of suffering. Right now, if you ask any person, are you happy where your life is? Right? Everyone says no, no one says yes, right? So between that separation, there's a bit of suffering because there is a need that isn't being met right now. There is that feeling I'm not having right now. There is that physical body. There is that monetary value, right? That is somewhere else outside there that you want it to be with you. So I bridge that gap between where your life is right now and where you want it to be in the easiest way, the quickest way, and effectively using backed up methodologies and touching on areas like psychology, physiology, neuroscience. And at the end, ensuring that the life that you want it, you don't see it next week or next month or next year, but you see it today. So if you look at life, people say, I want to change my life, right? Life is simply experiences, right? The moment you wake up in the morning till the evening, what fills your day are experiences, from taking a cup of tea, to going to the gym, to watching a movie, to going to work. All these experiences, right? These are physical ones. Then you have emotional ones, being happy, being sad, stressed, worried. These are experiences, right? So if you want to change your life, you have to change your experiences, right? And if people understand that every experience has a structure, the experience of worry, stress, happiness, sadness, health, all these experiences have a structure. And the moment you change the structure of these experiences, automatically the experiences changes. And these structures are embodied in our neurocircuitries in our brain. Okay? So as a human being, a state of being is determined by three things, right? what you think, how you feel, and what you do. This makes you. That is you. So what you feel, what you do, and what you think makes up you, right? And all these are patterns that are in the brain, right? If the brain is like a map, we have computers, and computers have softwares, right? The softwares drive the hardwares. So the softwares in the brain, the thoughts, the beliefs, and the ideas you have about yourself drive what you feel or how you feel and what you do. So they drive the experiences you have in life, right? So if you want to change your life, you have to change experiences. If you have to change experiences, you have to change how you feel and what you do. If you have to change what you feel and how you feel and what you do, you have to change the softwares embedded in the brain. And that is where I help people. I help people understand the softwares that are in the brain that are creating the life they don't want, that are creating the experiences they don't want, right? I want to lose weight. So what is the software that is making it hard for you to lose weight? I'm so worried every time. I'm so anxious, What is the software that is creating the worry and the anxiety inside you? The moment you understand the structure of the experiences, now you can see what's wrong there, what can we change, and now we can install a better software that can make you from being worried, being stressed, being anxious, to being blissful, being happy, being joyful. That is what I do.
What got you interested in such work in the first place?
So I can say, first of all, it's how I've been raised up. So I have my dad is in the military. So since young, he has been very strict on me. Okay. So at home, we never got time for movies. I never got time for movies or cartoon or anything he termed as useless, not beneficial. So everything I did, everything I watched, it had to be beneficial according to him. So most of the times the TV I'll watch is Discovery Science and, Nature Wild. So I just got so interested in how things work. Okay. So I'll see how the cars are made, how helicopters are made, how the human functions, how the brain functions. At the time I was in primary school. So for me, it was so fascinating at that time. So I continued with now seeing how humans work, how do we function, how our brains function, how do we digest food at the time, Then after that, I got my phone, I think class 6 there. That is what I still continued watching in my phone. So I never watched movies and all that. So one time I was scrolling in YouTube. Then I met this guy. He's called Dr. Bruce Lipton. He's a neuroscientist, one of the best ones in the world. So he was explaining how that what we think affects our lives. And if you want to change your life, you have to change your thoughts. So I was like, okay, interesting. Let me go deeper. And I listened to him, and from there I picked up some of his books. And from there, I found out some other speakers like Bob Proctor. If you know the book Think and Grow Rich, the movie The Secret, it was when it was hitting at the time. So it was one of the first books I got into. And it was when I got into the space of personal development. Now I started reading about mindset and human psychology, human behavior, and all that. Then about 2019, an incident happened. I got a back problem. So it was... I was seated, my back started paining daily. So I'll go play basketball. In the evening, my back was so painful. When I sleep, I wake up, it's fine. So it continued worsening in that I could not sleep properly. One time it was worse, I could not even wake up from bed. So I was rushed to the hospital at that time. And I was taken to, the emergency. I could not move any inch of my body. The pain was so paralyzing. So I was just lying straight in the bed. They did all, the drips and all that to try and bring down the pain. But after 3-4 hours, the pain surges back, like a pain attack, if I can say that. So I was hospitalized for around 10 days straight. For 10 days straight, I was in bed. So no sitting, no turning, no walking. I was doing everything in bed. I was eating in bed. The doctors came, they did all the scans from MRI, CT scans, X-ray, blood, everything. But all the scans showed nothing. So we were like, okay, you have some symptoms which I've never seen in a very young kid, very young man. And this sometimes happens, mostly for the older guys, 80, 90 years, right? What we are seeing in you is very unusual. And our scans are showing nothing. So MRI, CT scans, X-ray, they are showing nothing, zero. Okay? So it's just there. So because it was pain, nothing physical, the only medicine that they were using is painkillers and some other numbing medication, like they numb the nerves so that you can't feel the pain. But what they were doing at that time, when you numb the nerves, I can't feel my feet, I can't feel my hands.
Wow. Yeah.
And at that time, when you can't feel your feet and hands, you can't control them. Exactly, you can't do anything. So after that, I started doing physiotherapy because it was the only thing which was a bit, which would help me, right? So they'll come there.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
This pain didn't come after a fall or
No,
anything.
Exactly, nothing. Just, yeah. So after that, like 3 months I was doing physiotherapy, I got back to a bit of walking and striding. And, but after that, so I could not go back to my normal. So I could not stand for 30 minutes. I could not sit for an hour. I could not sleep for more than 6 hours or less. I left sports. I didn't play basketball again. I didn't exercise. I didn't swim. Nothing. So it continued that way. So I was away now doing physiotherapy and going home. Then after some periods, the pain struck again. Now this is like the attack, where it immobilizes me. So you're just lying there. You can't do anything. I was carried again, rushed to the hospital. Same procedures. They do the scans, CT scans, MRI, nothing. Second time. Third time. So the third time, when I was being discharged, the doctor, before I was being discharged, the doctor called my dad and me when I was in the bed. And he told my dad, what, we can't do anything for your boy. So better just take him home. Those are the words of the doctor.
Wow, that's defeating.
And we were in the best of hospitals in this country. I can't name it. Yeah, I saw one of the best neurosurgeons and they have the best experts at that time. So yeah, it was the most depressing moments of my life. You can imagine, you go to the hospital in this state and then you have the expectations that you have experts and people who are going to help you. But when you go there, surprise, yeah. So it dawned on me that the people whom I had hope or I had some light, some beam of light that they're going to help me, they have told me that they can't help me. So it's me to help myself. So it's when I started researching and digging everything under the sun to see how I can help myself. Yeah, so after that, I searched the best of the best experts that are creating these transformational changes for other people across the globe, reading every single book, psychology, neurochemistry, neurology, epigenetics, everything I could get my hands off. And with time, I came to figure out what was actually wrong and causing all this illness. And I got better and I can say I healed myself, and now I'm back to exercising, back to normal.
So what was the issue?
So you see, first of all, let me cite a research. Our research says that 70% of people who go and visit the doctor suffering from any kind of pain, 70% are actually not having any physical pain, but their physical pain are just manifestations of emotional pains. 70%. And unfortunately, with our medical system across the globe, they don't pay attention to your emotional being. When you go there, you are suffering from any single thing. For example, it's headache, migraines, ulcers, diabetes. They just look at you, okay, these are the symptoms, they prescribe you straight, right? They never ask how is your emotional life. But they're forgetting that when you talk about your health or your body, all the systems are one. from an emotional being, to your from a physical,
mental,
emotional, and mental. All these three systems are interconnected, and they affect each other. So what I found out about myself is that with time, you see, the way I was raised, I'm not, people don't get me wrong here. So the way we are raised, or the way I was raised, in that from a young age, in the morning we go to school, we come back at 4 or 5, we shower, do our homework. After that, we go to bed, right? As kids, right? And we never got time with our parents. People don't know that from the age of 1 to 7, that is where a person, that's where you collect most of the beliefs that you held in your life, okay? So from the age of 1 to 7, your brain is like a sponge, okay? Your prefrontal cortex, which is a conscious brain, hasn't yet developed. So the only active part is a subconscious brain. Your subconscious is where your beliefs are stored, okay? These beliefs are used to map out and to make sense of the world. So when a child from 1 to 7, for example, goes through anything, he picks the thought, he picks what he hears, he picks what he sees, and internalizes it as a belief, and that is how he'll continue seeing the world for the rest of his life, as a filter. So from a young age, like for me, our parents used to push us to, you have to succeed, you have to be number one and all that. So from that strictness of my dad, I think I formed the belief that I'm not lovable enough, which is not true. Okay, of course, my parents love me, of course, right? But as a kid, 1 to 7, you don't have that conscious brain, the reasoning exactly to reason what, the activities of parents, of mother and father, right? So I even saw this across my life, right? In that I became much of a people's pleaser, right? Because as a young age, I formed the belief that I'm not lovable enough. So I had to do things to be worthy of my parents' love, right? Be worthy of my parents' attention, right? So at that time when the disease 2019 it came, it was more of an attention, in that there was a need inside myself. There was that young Zubeir inside of me that still craved for attention, which he didn't get when he was young, right? So if an emotion can't find itself in tears, it will make other organs weep. Of course, when you're young, we have our parents, don't get angry, don't do this, don't do that, We are forced so much to suppress most of our emotions, right? And emotions are there to be expressed, right? So for my need of attention, I could not tell my dad, don't go to work today, I want you, right? Exactly, you see? So my back issue came because of the need and the emptiness inside myself that wants attention. And I realized this even before I was much of a people's pleaser and attention seeker. I was a prefect from class 3 till class 8. Class 8, I was the head boy. Secondary, I was a prefect. Form 4, I was the school president. You can see that, right? So I was driven to get much of attention for myself, which came from the belief in that I am not lovable. Yeah, I didn't get much of attention from my parents, right? So yeah, my back was there to tell you, hey, attention. So I remember when I was in the hospital, like when relatives will come, my aunts will come to see me and all that. It felt good. It felt good,
Wow.
like they were there showing that they care, and they were there like, wow, and all the time you have that in like 24 hours I had someone there with me, and it felt good. Wow. Of course I was in pain, of course I wanted to, exactly, but deep inside, when I'm now reflecting after doing reading and knowing myself more, it really felt good, because inside there was a void of attention, right? And this is for most people. We have a need which was never met, and it's now driving most of the physical elements we have, or even driving us, to be workaholics, to get that fit body, to do this. So that was it. When I found out that it was my need to get attention, and I reconciled that with myself, it went away.
Wow. You brought out so many important things. I think one thing that stands out, especially if we're talking about health, is the fact that medical professionals, let's say doctors, are usually there to diagnose symptoms.
Exactly.
It's like their brains are kind of like wired to just do that one thing, no matter what the person is like. And I think I personally had my rude awakening when I had a shoulder injury. And at the time I was living in Canada. And so here I am thinking, I'm abroad. These guys will get me right. Like I'm safe.
The best.
Yeah, So my shoulder issue came about when I slept in a horrible position and woke up with excruciating pain like I've never felt before. So I'm just like, what did I just do to my shoulder? So I go to at the time I was in university, I go to the university doctor. They do a bunch of tests. They're like, I don't know, like we can't figure out exactly, like they just tell you, move your hand this way, move your hand that way, like what's going on. And so they forward me to another doctor or to do some tests, X-rays, MRIs, whatnot. Stuff. I went through the whole thing and nothing. There's no bone, muscle, nothing. So, and then all the different tests they're doing are pretty much trying to figure out what exactly is going on with my shoulder, because I'm like, the pain is here. So like I spent months and months being taken through the ringer in the medical system, and like I'm visiting doctors that we're talking. They tell me, go do a test, come back in so and so months down the line. So I'm like learning to live with this thing at this point. So I'm going back and forth, MRI after MRI.
Wow.
Then at some point they want to schedule like a mini surgery to like look for samples in my shoulder so that they can see if they can find anything. So they take this so-called sample. I'm like put anesthesia, all that stuff. So it's like a mini surgery. And then that mini surgery actually like made the pain, like it actually made my shoulder be in pain for a while, and I couldn't even exercise for a while. So I'm like, okay, if they're going into my shoulder, that means like for sure now they'll find something. So keep going back and forth. I'm like, I'm still getting zero answers. So now it reaches a point where I'm like probably 7 months in, almost a year into this whole process, and I finally go to this one doctor in like the CBD, and he walks in with like 3 other students with him. So I'm thinking, he's even like teaching students. He must be like, he's the guru of this hospital. So I'm like, today we must get some answers. So he tells me like, we're going to schedule surgery and what, the student thing came down the line. But anyway, it was the same doctor this time. So we talk, he says we'll schedule surgery for so and so month. And so we schedule the surgery. And then I think he said there was one more visit I need to do before that, because there's a waiting list. So then before we do that, let's do another test, and then you come back again. So now now the last time I went to meet him he was with those students and stuff. But at this point, actually, I was so exhausted. I'm just like, you know what, guys?
I'm done.
Today, I actually decided before I left the house, I'm like, I'm telling these guys to just cancel this whole story, because we're getting nowhere. You've gone into my shoulder. I'm doing test after test. I'm wasting time. Money. Yeah, thankfully the insurance thing covered most of that stuff. If I was using money, I'd probably have quit way earlier, way before that. But so eventually I just cancelled it. I'm like, you know what, I've learned how to live with this thing. I've even gone back to exercising regularly. I'm even working out my shoulders, although of course I'm not 100% with this shoulder. The pain is not there as much, only if I do certain movements. It's like a specific way is what hurts me. So now I move back home, like years go by, and I was lying down at some point in my room, and I don't know what I did, but I kind of pressed my back against something, and I felt like I triggered the pain. And I was like, how did pressing something in my back trigger the pain at the front? And so I'm into like figuring my body out because I'm into fitness. And so I start exploring. I start like pressing it more. I go lie on something to press. So I'm like, hold up. This whole time, all these years I've had this issue, nobody has asked about the muscles in the back of my shoulder.
I can imagine.
And it's like, okay, I hadn't studied any like training courses or anything by that point for coaching or fitness or anything. So I'm not, and even now, even if I have, I've forgotten most of what I learned in terms of muscles and bones. But I'm like, when you look at it, a large percentage of the muscles that support our shoulder are these ones in the back. But when you say shoulder, most people just think
the joint.
Yeah, but it's like, dude, there's a whole bunch of muscles in the back that, you know. So for me, that was so enlightening. I'm like, wow, doctors in Canada were taking me through the ringer, and not a single person identified, like, how about we check the back? And from that moment, I was like, they were about to put me in surgery. Who knows what they would have done to my shoulder? I probably wouldn't even be able to use my shoulder for months or even till now. And I was like, hold up, this issue, I probably messed something up in the muscles in the back there when I slept badly that one time. But nobody was leading me anywhere near where an answer could be found. I'm not saying I found that. My shoulder is still not 100%. Like, there's certain ways I'll move it and I'll feel that pain. But that's just life. Sometimes our bodies, like you get messed up sometimes. You have a tweak that just won't go away. Maybe one day I'll figure it out 100%, but it's not stopped me. It's not a pain that's stopping me, and it pushed me to be like, I should probably take a lot more responsibility for my own body. And doctors and life, essentially too, that's the bigger message. And it's like, doctors, from that experience, I really mistrusted doctors. There's another time I even had like another issue. This one wasn't that major. It was a sty. My first time getting a sty, like when your eyelid swells.
Yes, sir.
So these guys were turning my eyelid inside out, and it's painful, swabbing it, looking for infection. I'm like, what? They gave me an expensive antibiotic I had to buy from the shop, only to realize I went online, Googled, it was like, hot compress. So literally just a hot towel on my eye for 15 minutes, like thrice a day. And it literally just immediately started going away. Like the next day I was okay. But here were doctors turning my eyelid inside out. Like, from those two experiences, I was like, doctors are not there they're not there for my health. That's like the first thing. And then I feel like another thing you brought out that's really important is the fact that our physical bodies can easily manifest what's going on internally. And I think that concept is really important when it comes to fitness, especially because we talk a lot about stress and how people are out here beating up their bodies to try and get results, but they're not considering that they're not sleeping well, they're stressed out, their hormones are out of whack because of all this. So that's why you're not getting results. But who's gonna tell you that on Instagram? Exactly. They're just gonna show you a bunch of ab workouts. Look at my amazing life. I went to Maldives yesterday. Like, get your life together. Yeah, this is, So I think those are really important. So from now, the time that you finally found some relief with your back, how long did it take, first of all, to get that relief?
I can say it was gradual. I can't say like it was like pop, instant. No, It was gradual. Mm-hmm. And as I started to reconcile with my own limiting beliefs that I had. And then after that, also I didn't ignore my physical well-being. So I was sleeping well. I was doing the back exercises, right? I was eating well.
Did you research your own exercises? And
Yeah. I researched my own exercises. Even the physiotherapists were good, because they showed you these are the back exercises. They relax the muscles. And actually, you mentioned surgery. They were about to do me a surgery because my where it pained most, it's in the lower back. So they had made the assumption that one of my discs may be broken. So let us do a surgery and replace that disc with a plastic one. So you can imagine.
Yeah.
You can imagine.
What?
You can imagine. So it took like you can say 2021 is when I can say I really got back to myself fully. Yeah. So about an year. About an year. Yeah. But now that was combined with scattering and looking for information and trying this and all that. Yeah. And you said about that our physical body shows what's going on inside. But that's exactly what it's meant to be. Like our physical body, all that it does, it just shows at what's going on inside. That's all. That is all. The fruit you have, in a tree just shows you the seed which was planted, right? So all the processes that are going on inside ourselves, what we think and how we feel, are all manifested physically, like through our bodies, and what we have externally. So you can say financial success and relationships we're having outside and how we talk and all that. All these things are just the results of 1 + 1, which is how we think and how we feel inside. That is all. That is all.
Yeah. And so as you now moved, so your interest in this kind of thing, the back issue is what launched you into the interest in.
So before the back issue, I was doing motivational talks.
Okay.
So yeah, so I was that time I was in school actually. So I was giving talks about mindset and how to be motivated and how to be disciplined and all that.
How did you start that in the first place?
How do you start? At the time I told you my interest was just in personal development.
Okay.
Exactly, yes. Okay. And I also had I don't know, since young, I can say, I don't know, I got it from my mother. But I really care so much about others. There's this part of me that just can't see someone else going through pain, going through suffering. And as far as I can just come and tell him some good words and just give him some inspiration for him to smile in the next 10 minutes. That's been just fulfilling to me since I was young. So I think it comes back to also, people pleasing, wanting to make people happy, right? Yeah. But I also took it in a way that no one was doing this. Okay, even when I was in school, no one was like doing it. Okay, we had people who also, like you'll go to your friend and all that. But I was there, like we had in our school, boys were about 450.
Which
right?
school did you go to?
Sheikh Khalifa. Sheikh Khalifa is in Mombasa.
Oh, okay.
Sheikh Khalifa High School, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So like at that time I remember I could put if someone comes to me, hey, I have this issue, I have this problem, I could literally put off my studies and just talk to him the next 30 minutes, 1 hour, and they'll say it does nothing, So I was so deeply motivated to helping people. Now, when the back issue struck is when I realized that the knowledge I have is only surface level knowledge because I could not motivate myself out of the pain. Yeah. I could not inspire myself out of the pain, right? So it's when I went to okay, if you look at people outside, okay, you can motivate someone to go to the gym, you can motivate someone to go and start the business, be loving to, his wife, his husband and all that. You can motivate, you can talk them through. But you're only talking to 5% of the brain, which is the conscious part. This person's problems, issues, suffering are being run by his subconscious brain, where the beliefs are stored. So in the subconscious brain, where the beliefs are stored, we have 2 parts or 2 organs. One is called cerebellum. Cerebellum runs your physical, your movements. Okay, you have the limbic system. The limbic system processes your emotions. Determines your emotions, right? So the beliefs which you have determines how you feel and what you do. That is literally you. You get it? Most of the time, sometimes you may be going through some pain, some suffering, but you're like, my life is fine, this is okay. You rationalize that with your conscious part, that your life is fine. But deep inside, you're living in hell, right? You're living in hell. And your conscious part will always try to rationalize things to be fine and to be okay, just to go with your ego. So ego is simply this part that you have accumulated about who we are, not who we really are, right? What we think, who we are.
The story about ourselves.
The story about ourselves, exactly, right? So you want to think that life is fine, that things are okay, stress is normal, right? So your beliefs inside yourself, insecurities are running your life, running them into hell. And then you're rationalizing that in the brain that things are just fine, things are okay, right? Most of the people who kind of go to look for help, you find that they have reached that threshold in that they can't hold the pain enough, right? And they're like, okay, I've been lying to myself so much that things are fine. Now I really have to change.
Utter chaos.
Yeah, utter chaos, exactly. Now I really have to change. Now when they go like, okay, how do I change myself? Or how do I change my life? They get stuck there. And I think most people they get so fearful when they think about changing their lives because they don't know how. They don't know where to start. You can listen to all the motivation, all the inspiration, but if you don't do the inner work and you understand what limiting beliefs are running inside you that are producing the life you are having right now, no change will happen, right? And these beliefs are unconscious. You're not aware of them, right? You're not aware of them. And that's why I think the big question is, the big issue, right? We don't know what's running and ruining this bad life that we're having, right? So the moment you understand that, hey, it's all in you. And nowadays, by the way, we have, as you've said, when you go to Instagram and you scroll through these people, we have been so conditioned to look for the answers outside there. And at the same time, you have companies which are taking advantage of me and you and all of us. So I don't feel beautiful enough. There is this makeup you can apply. You're a man. I don't feel confident enough in myself. You want to feel powerful. Wear this watch. Buy this suit. Buy this car. You are from work. You feel stressed. Get a Coke. Even the advertisement itself, when you open the Coke, yeah.
Or even something hard like a beer or
exactly.
like vodka or something.
Now to the extremes of trying to numb the pains you're having, right? So all these companies, what you're having outside, the movies, the music, all these things are just taking advantage of the emotional emptiness and the chaos going on inside ourselves. And you've been conditioned so much to think about change is so hard, change is so difficult and all that. Change is hard, change is difficult because you don't know how. And from all the things you've read till now, for most people, it doesn't work. It doesn't work because people try to go about change. Number one, willpower. So I'm forcing myself to go to the gym, I'm forcing myself to do this, right?
Go hard or go home.
Go hard or go home, right? But remember, you can't fight your own self. Who will win, who will lose, right? You can't fight your own self. You can't fight your own biology. You can't fight your own neurology. We have everything we need for ourselves inside ourselves. We have all the resources that we think we are lacking in life, right? You want to feel confident, you want to feel grounded in life. You want to be happy. You want to be cheerful. You want to start the business. You want to have a loving relationship. You want to be healthy. All these things are inside ourselves. And if we know how to form these experiences in life, by knowing the structures of these experiences, everything becomes, And after that, you'll find that the things outside start to match you, right? Because you changed yourself. And everything outside you is just a reflection of what is going inside yourself, right? So you just have to go within, all the change happens within, and don't focus outside. it's all within you.
Yeah.
Right, it's all within you.
That's bringing it even closer to fitness, because what you're saying is something that I feel like a lot of times can also differentiate a good personal trainer from a bad one. I've interviewed quite a few personal trainers here, and we try and kind of demystify fitness for people. And I think a lot of times people want us to explain which magical exercise they can do, which magical food they can eat that like give them what they want. And unfortunately, of course, that's not what it is. And when I speak to a trainer, they're like, yeah, we both understand why it's not that, because we've been into fitness, and the few people who you've had breakthroughs with, it's not because you told them the magical exercise or the magical food. And there's usually that like inner reason more often than not. Even a recent episode which someone was talking about the physical transformation, like I was telling you before we started, for them, establishing their why was the big differentiator between them when they tried exercise and failed, and now when they're doing exercise and succeeding and staying with it and being excited about the process and actually seeing changes. Can you say what you said about his why? Like his why? Yeah, so shout out to George Damboki. That was episode, I think, 18. Okay. And his journey is calisthenics. So basically just body weight exercises from, I believe from home. No, from the university field, KU. He went to KU. So he does body weight exercises, and his experience has been such that exercise helps him mentally. So for him, focusing, or just the value behind exercise he's found has been doing something hard. This is actually his quote, is that doing hard things makes life easier. So for him, the exercise is like, it's a microcosm of life in a way, where it's like, when I do something hard, everything else gets easier. So let me go head first into the difficult things to be able to manage so that any other challenge that comes at me is actually simpler to manage. So, and exercise has so many other benefits beyond that, but for him, he found that kind of like hanging on to the idea that I'm able to do something difficult and succeed in that difficult thing, not just doing something hard just for the sake, but I'm doing something hard and I'm conquering the hard thing, gives me the confidence. In a way, it strengthens the contract I have with myself that I'm able to do stuff. So doing the fitness, for him, it's like, he actually says he hates working out. So it's like, I hate that I have to do these pull-ups, but I do them and I finish and I feel amazing. So when I have difficulties in life, then it's like, oh, I've felt this feeling before. I know how to get through this. So for him, that's like that intangible value of fitness, which, like I was saying, with trainers, the difference between someone who's able to experience change and one who is not, it's usually finding that intrinsic value in the fitness, because there's only so much motivation, like you said, inspiration that you can listen to. I mean, like, and again, there's value in those things, because motivational videos are cool. I watch them every now and again, inspirational stuff. It does something for you, but it reaches a point where it almost gets disgusting. It's like, okay, like I'm this done. Is too much. Yeah, it's like overkill. It's like it gets old real fast. So the intrinsic value of the thing is where the real commitment comes from, exactly, in a sense, you know. So yeah, as far as like that internal, the why, figuring out why you're doing something, having that conversation with yourself is where I think real change begins. You see, like you say Josh, right? George, yeah. Okay. George, his fitness is coming from a place of wholeness, right? He's not trying to prove anything or feel anything. He's already whole. Yeah. That's why he hates doing the workouts, but he gets through them because he's not after the workouts or a result of maybe showing people that I can be this strong or proving to my wife that I'm this, handsome and all that, right? He is complete within himself, right? So there is nothing outside there that can
that he's struggling and striving to come and fail him, right? So the exercise, the workouts that he's doing, however hard they can be, he goes through them because he ain't after a result or after feeling a void inside him, right? And most of us, many people, are going through life, or trying to get fit, trying to get healthy, trying to be in loving relationships, trying to get their financial states to be stable and all that, from a place of not being enough. It's a pandemic people are having. They believe that I'm not enough. So I can't pass my exams because I'm not smart enough. I'm not getting that business deal because I'm not worthy enough. My relationship because I'm not liable enough. Not being enough you'll find it in every root of every single problem people are having, right? And this now can be stemmed from, the childhood and what they experience, right? And by the way, as kids or as children, we are all born enough, right? We're all born enough. But through the experiences of our parents, teachers, friends, we picked up the idea that somewhere we ain't enough and we have to prove that we're enough, right? So we grow up with the void that we ain't enough. We need something outside to fill us. We need something outside, to complete us, right? And then this can go in two ways. So you can find that someone, for example, doesn't feel he's smart enough and he has to, study till 12 to prove that he's smart enough, and he goes on to pass his exams. Yeah, that is fine. But you find that the way he goes to get that A or to get the results, it's so detrimental. It's so hard. It's a death. Yeah, it's a dreadful experience to get to that A, or to get to the health, or to get to the fitness, the fit body that you want, right? And then when you get that result, it becomes more of a curse than a blessing, because there's no joy. And at the same time, you're gonna fight to protect it because you believe you don't deserve it. It's not part of you, right? There are these guys who, they fall in love. Maybe he's married, but you find that he's so insecure in his marriage, right? Because he doesn't feel lovable enough, right? So he's trying to everything, he wants to peep, in his wife's phone and see. Exactly.
You want to control your wife.
Control your wife. I texted you like 1 hour, you didn't reply. What's going on? Yeah, because of that emptiness.
So because even when I think about it in a fitness context, it's why like when it gets dysfunctional, when you feel like you can't eat anything, things you enjoy.
Exactly.
It's like you get neurotic about every little thing, and fitness starts being a drag. Like it's you're almost like torturing yourself. And
you find that maybe they go to a party, right? And they can't even get near the tables because they're afraid they're going to drink the coke or take the chicken, right? Because they haven't reconciled inside, right? The urge, it's still there. They're trying to force themselves out of. I can say, like, you see, for me, I'm really anti-junk. I'm anti-sodas and all that. I've not taken like soda for the past 2.5 years, right? But if you bring this soda here in the cup and I am alone in the room, I'll not take it because the urge isn't there. Why? I shift my identity because I don't take sodas, right? It's not part of me. But these guys, they don't go inside, so they go out, work out and all that. But the cravings are still there. The beliefs are still there. They are still there. And it becomes actually like for the fitness, you deprive yourself of, the comforts of this food, the chicken, the sodas and all that. The urge piles up. It piles up and it reaches a point where you can't hold it. You go take it. You binge, right? And that is so detrimental for your self-worth, self-esteem. So after that, you start feeling bad about yourself and the thoughts come, oh, you can't do it. You see, you're just this fat, this is not you, you give up, Exactly. So,
that's true. I mean, that's so true. And so take us now through speaking about now when you established that process for yourself, how So what has been your experience in helping others go through that process, and how do you begin helping someone who is in that low point and they have that negative story about themselves, they don't believe they deserve good things, whatnot? When they come to you, how do you help them?
So every problem has two sides in it. Okay, every problem has two sides in it. One is the past, the other one is the future. So the past, in that actually the past is 66% of your issues, problems you're having, is because, okay, I can't get fitness, for example. I'm struggling with fitness because maybe I have a belief, I tried it, I failed, right? Or maybe another belief is that I come from a family of unhealthy people, right? So being fit ain't available to me. That's also a belief. Or maybe sometimes people have gone through traumatic experiences, and they found their relief through food, right? Now that comes to addiction. Okay, so you find that maybe some people ain't comfortable with their bodies, right? And the only way they can connect with their bodies is through food, right? Food becomes a drug, right? So if we reconcile these experiences they have had in the past, in that, for example, I've said, what did I say? The first one is addiction, right? If you're addicted to food, if we reconcile the fact that the void you're trying to fill is not from food, but it's you to reconcile within yourself that there was a need which was not met, right, as a young kid. But now you're an adult, you can meet that need for yourself. You don't need food to meet that need, right? If you reconcile that fact, that insecurity of wanting and demanding and I need to be fit to feel alive, they feel relieved, right? And that now they're no longer in survival mode, right? Because when you're in survival mode is any emotional state which keeps you out of balance, right? And this comes from, the worry, the anxiety, the insecurities that you're having, right? So when you are in survival mode, number one, your physiology is affected in that blood goes to the peripherals, okay, to the muscles, because survival mode means there's danger outside you, right? So blood goes away from your heart, away from your liver, away from the conscious brain. You can't even think properly, okay? Because it thinks that we are in danger, you have to survive, right? That is survival mode, right? And in survival mode, you don't think of creating, you don't think of vision, you don't think of how can I make my life better. There is no room and space for that, okay? And your emotional state of being carries or forms the basis to which the thoughts you're having and the emotions you're going to feel. So if the emotional state of being is insecure, about my body, you'll never hold the thought that I can be fit, right? And I can feel confident about my body. So if an emotional state of being, it's like, it's like trying to build a building in the beach or in sand, it's going to sink, right? So as far as the platform is weak, you can't build that fit that you want, right? So if you can change this platform by reconciling the experiences you've had in the past and the beliefs and the identity that have been formed in the past, now you can go to the future, right? Now you can, think about, starting the gym process or starting the business idea or think about whatever the results that you want to create. So once you have established a solid foundation by reconciling all the garbage you've carried from the past, right, that have led you here, now you can plan about the future, right? So I want to, get that fit body and to lose this weight. Now you are free, and even your body is there to help you, right? It's there to even, hey, Zubeir, I think we can do this. It's now you no longer have this struggle, and when you think about the gym, if people think about the gym, like they're in bed, they're like, I have to go to the gym today, and it's gonna be sweaty, and it's gonna be hard, and it's gonna be painful. But once you have built the foundation, that I can lose this weight to get this fit body. Your body is like, hey, we gotta go. We have to build, because our natural inclination as people or as human beings is to build and grow and bring out the best inside ourselves, out of ourselves, right? So once you have formed the foundation by reconciling the past experiences you've had, the beliefs that have been formed, the identities and the values that you hold for yourself, now you can go for the future. Okay, the details now will matter with what someone wants. Okay, so people want to be healthy, someone wants to have less stress in life, he wants to reconcile the relationship, he wants to start the business, so it depends. So the identities, the beliefs, the values depend on the context of what kind of health that person needs, right? But the structure is, you go to the past and see what beliefs you've carried, that have led to where you are. Once we reconcile that and form a new strong foundation, a new strong basis, now you're free to go for the marathon, to go for the race. Exactly.
Do you have experiences, maybe standout experiences, I don't know how much you can share with us, but of working with someone and they had a breakthrough that is worth sharing, maybe?
One that comes into mind is this girl who she was in a relationship with a boy, and then like for the past 6-8 months it was so rocky, it was so like stumbling, and it reached a point in that like it was bringing her more pain than joy, right? And so she wanted a way out of the relationship. So she was like they'll every day it's about quarreling, every day it's about talking about this and all that, and the issue came from like her boyfriend didn't wanted her to break her relationship with another boy whom he thought is like best friend and all that. So the boy wasn't comfortable with the girl having friends who were boys. So the girl was like, every day, I text him, he doesn't reply, or maybe he blue ticks me, okay? And then maybe one time, after like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, he can reply. After that, it's just insults, it's just exchanging words and all that. And so her main issue was like, how can I get out of this, right? So she came to me, she told me it was about 6 months since she thought of getting out of that, but she cannot. So I'm like, well, okay, you have decided you want to get out of it, what's stopping you? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, when you think about ending it, what comes to you? She said, like, I feel like terror getting out of this, yet I'm getting so much pain in this relationship. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Okay, let's go to your past. And while talking to her, I found out that when she was young, around 5-6, the father left the mom. Okay, so she continued being raised by her single mom. So from that, life became a bit harder because the father was the main breadwinner, right? So mom really struggled to bring her up and all that. So from that, she formed the belief in that when a man leaves a woman suffers. So if my boyfriend leaves me,
life will get hard.
But now, at that time she can take care of herself, she was working. I get it. So it was so terrifying for her, and I'm like, yeah, that's it. So once you reconcile the belief that she formed in that, okay, at that period, you suffered, but that's not how life is. This is new you're now a grown up, you can take care of yourself. And after that, she was able to end it up, and now she is in a much better one. And
that's awesome. It's so interesting coming to that realization, because I recall, and I feel like we usually have like a long list of these experiences that kind of can sometimes work to hold us back. But one particular one that links to my fitness journey is when I was in high school and I played basketball. I was in the basketball team.
Oh, nice. Like me.
So like, and it's funny because I was also prefect.
Oh,
I was a
okay.
leader. I wasn't the head boy or anything, but I was also a leader. But I was amazing at practice. But game day, my nerves would get the best of me. It was like people would, and at the time I didn't understand. I knew what it was, but I didn't understand why it was so bad. It was like I would get so nervous when there's a crowd. My performance just dips drastically. It's like I've never played basketball before. And it was a comment I used to, and then you see, the thing is, people can see that that's what's happening, because like, dude, we train with you and you're one of the best.
There is.
But like game day, you always choke, like your nerves are too much. And so when you hear it out loud, you're like, oh man, so I'm a guy who chokes on game day. So now even before the game starts, like my heart is beating, I'm nervous, like just, yeah, you know. So I think the more that would happen, and I think because I never really got, and I think that's where good coaching comes in. And I think that's where a lot of high school, especially locally, high school coaches, they fail.
And that,
because they're good at telling you, run a lot, play a lot, do this, do that, shots. But the mental side of it, they don't even address it. And I feel like if someone was able to sit down with me at that point and tell me like, okay, let's stop. Why is it that game day you get so nervous? You know, what is it about people watching you play that makes you so nervous? But so that experience for me, I think it never got better, because I never addressed it with anyone. So my idea of who I am at the time after high school was like, wow, so like when there's attention on me, I'll fail. So I'd rather not have attention. So, and then, but it took me now, I think, moving out of home and having my own experiences as a young adult and succeeding in things in public and being like, oh, hold up, so I can do stuff even when people are looking, you know. So yeah, those small things are so, and I think maybe a lot of times we're not conscious enough. And I think that survival mode thing you're saying is so crucial, because we live in a country also where a lot of people, probably even the majority, are in survival mode, practically.
So much.
So how are they going to stop in the middle of walking to a hard labor job, start to think about, hold up, so my childhood, I don't know what, you know, people don't have that
exactly, yeah.
So we end up having a society of people who are just working on like the wrong kind of software in a way, you know. So, and
I think that's why we're here, and that's why you have this platform to exactly.
Awesome. So I guess I think that's our time for the day. But any final words for us?
Any final words is that number one, everything you're experiencing in life, everything that is going on, you have to know that you are the source of each and every experience in your life, right? Whatever that is bad, whatever that is good, it's all from you, okay? Just that you don't know how to create the good experiences, or you don't know how these bad experiences are happening in your life. Don't discount that it's not from you, because the moment you do that and you point your finger at outside forces, you're giving away your power, right? But the moment you understand that all these experiences are happening in you and from you, that is why you can open the window of starting thinking, oh, if it's happening from me and it's within me, I'm the creator, right? I'm the creator. And that opens the window to start and now going inside and looking for this information, right? And the body can be there to help you, because every time it's trying to get your attention. And the best way our subconscious mind gets our attention, or our beliefs, right, is through pain. It's through pain. It's the only way it can talk to us. Signal, exactly, yeah. So physical pain, like the one for me, my back issue, or emotional pain through your, how you feel every single day, how you interact with people, right? Or mental pain. All these things are a way of your subconscious mind telling you, hey, pay attention inside. Pay attention inside. So when you pay attention into yourself, you're going to find all these solutions. And You've been told outside there that change is so hard, change is so difficult. I'm telling you, it's not hard, it's not difficult, right? As far as you know how, and you have the tools and strategies and knowledge to do that, it becomes so easy, you know. We are drowning in the information.
Yeah.
Exactly, you're drowning in the information. So it's just up to you to, you know. And as we are drowning in information, we have good information and bad information, right? Others are there to reap out cash from you, and others are there to help you, okay? So you know that the change that you want to make in your life, however hard it may feel, however impossible it may be, it may seem to you, it's all possible. It's all possible.
Yeah. Thank you. So share with us your social media handles, all that stuff where someone can reach you.
So I'm best found in Instagram. So Instagram, Mr.Zubeir.a, Mr. Mr.Zubeir.a. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you for hosting me.
It was a really good conversation.
I really enjoyed it.
A lot to think about. I hope anyone who's listened to this has reaped some benefit. I know for a fact a lot of the things he's talking about I've thought about before as well, and I think just when it comes to addressing our health and wellness and all that good stuff that we talk about, the internal conversation is really important. So hopefully this triggers some kind of change for you, or the beginnings of change, and until the next episode of the Shujaa Fitcast, we shall see you there. Thank you for listening to the Shujaa Fitcast. For more information and business inquiries, email us at shujaafitnesswarrior@gmail.com. Follow us on social media at Shujaa_fitness on Instagram, at Shujaa Fitness on Facebook and TikTok, and subscribe to our channel at Shujaa Fitness on YouTube. For audio versions of this podcast, check us out on Spotify, Boomplay, and Apple Podcasts. This show was recorded and produced at the Represented Studio in Nairobi, Kenya. Special thanks to Lucid for the background music.